It is day 2 of the 15-minute job, and you can see it's finally sunny out. It's not raining anymore. So I had an epiphany last night. Instead of pulling off the whole intake manifold, I got a shop vac. I should have enough access through here behind the throttle body. I'm going to run the hose in there, starting from the front, turn it on, run it to the back, see if I can vacuum it out, that little piece out, and then I can check in the shop vac to make sure that it came out before I go tearing a bunch of stuff apart. So I thought that was a better idea. I'm gonna run with that first. So see how that goes. So the vacuum did not work. So we're gonna go ahead and pull the intake manifold off. This is gonna be a pain, but it's not as hard as probably some other jobs that you could do in here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna loosen as many of these bolts as I can. You got these ones along the sides. There is these 2 here, and I gotta pull this bracket off temporarily as well so I can slide it out from underneath this hose line. This is a fuel line here, and we're gonna pull that fuel line so that we can lift this up and out, and then that should give us everything we need. I believe there's a couple bolts on the back side that I have to get to as well, but I'm not 100% certain. All right, so we removed our fuel rail. You are gonna get some fuel leakage, which is fun, will dry up, but we're gonna go and just put that over here and out of the way for right now. Went ahead and disconnected this vacuum line here. Just push up on, or push in, push up on the top, pull out, and then we're gonna do this one now, which is just push on these side tabs and lift and get out of the way. Cool. Now we're gonna go ahead and unbolt all the bolts around. Now to pull off the intake manifold, if you're looking at the back, because you can't really see literally anything until it's actually apart, but there's an electrical plug that you have to undo, and they've got this stupid tape around it, but you just push down on the back of the clip here, slide it out. This hose and this hose are both vacuum lines. This one, the bottom one, is just a nipple that it like suctions onto, and then this one, there's a red piece that you push in and pull this out. And then there's this wiring harness that's stuck to the bottom of it, and then there's this coolant line that runs in between these 2 lines. So you have to pull these out in order to be able to get the intake manifold off. So I got the intake manifold off, and I can't find this piece. I've checked into all the intake ports on the heads, and I don't see anything in those, which is good. But I don't see it in the manifold either at all. I stuck the vacuum in there. It's not in the vacuum cleaner unless it's stuck up in the filter or something, and I can't find it. I didn't hear anything come out. So that's not good. It's not the results that I wanted. But I don't know where else that could have been, unless it fell out when I took the throttle body off and it just kind of fell down into the engine bay and possibly on the ground. I'm over top of grass, so until I move the truck I wouldn't be able to tell anyways. So a little disheartening, but at the same time I don't see it, so that kind of sucks. Yeah, so I don't see the piece anywhere in here. So I'm gonna get the vacuum in here now that there's nothing extruding the way. See if we can get all the way to the back and vacuum it up. I officially got it. So this is what broke off, and I would like to take this moment to say don't buy cheap eBay parts. So I thought for a sensor that it would be, you know, no big deal. It turns out this plastic is extremely brittle compared to the OG one. So yeah. So what I did was I flipped it upside down, and you can see in there the oil is starting to drip down, and there's a crevice on the back side here that this was sitting in, which is what I expected. And I go in there. When I flipped it upside down with the oil, it slowly started coming down, and I took the vacuum, put it all the way up against the back, and I just sat there and rotated the vacuum hose until I heard something click. So I was about to give up on it, but it's out of there, so that's good. Let's put it back together. So now that I got that piece, we're going to do this all in reverse. Hopefully I don't have to do this again. So what we're going to do is we're going to reconnect the air lines. Why is it not focusing? We're going to reconnect the air lines on the back here, and then the electrical wire, or the electrical connector, and then we'll pull the paper towels out right as we're about to finish putting it down, so that we don't get anything in. So if you ever do this, just take a vacuum and vacuum up all along the edges here and up on here and even down into your manifold. The reason being is because when you go to pull this apart, all that stuff does fall into the intake, and you don't want to do that. You want to avoid that as much as possible. So you put these paper towels in here to keep the foreign material away, and then just vacuum up and clean up, so that way when you do pull those paper towels out, none of that stuff falls in. So just heads up, if that helps anybody. All right, so manifold is torqued down. I found that the best torque specs that I could find were 14 to 18 foot-pounds, and I went with 16, so that way we're right in the middle. Yeah, so that's torqued. Now we're gonna put our fasteners on for this electrical area back here, and then we're going to put our engine cover back on, and then we'll move to the front and start working on the throttle body and the gas line. All right, so everything back there is fastened up. We got the fuel line back on and fastened up on one bolt. That bolt fell back over in here and is now gone forever, which is perfect because that's exactly where I wanted it to be. So almost done. We got to do throttle body. I reconnected these two vacuum ones. That one goes to the air intake box, and then we're gonna have to reset these things too. So we are all back together. That piece is officially out of the manifold, so we are looking much better now. So I did order the actual part from Lucky 8 this time, so that should be here in the next couple days. Once that new MAP sensor comes in, we'll go ahead and do the air filters and the MAF cleaning as well, and we'll put it all back together and see how she does. Hopefully that solves the issue. Knowing my luck, I feel like it's not. I don't know why. So we'll see. Fingers crossed, I guess. But the other thing I was going to show you guys is this. And I don't know if you can tell. That is that's sitting at the bump stop. I got a fault on the last video. You'll see with the suspension fault, and it read that the front right ride height sensor was faulting. So I don't know if we're going to end up replacing it, or if it's just had a misreading, being turned off and on, all that stuff, and it's just being weird. So it does say ride height sensor fault. It's not an airbag leak. It's just yeah, I guess we'll get to it. We'll finish this, we'll get it running again, and then we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But that piece is out, so crisis averted. And then stick around for part 3 when we break another MAP sensor in there and we have to redo all this again. Hopefully not. Stick around for part 3 when we put the new MAP sensor in there and do all the rest of that stuff. Whole day. So I gotta go drop off a motorcycle, and I'll catch you guys next time.